Dear students, so this video is all about the walkthrough to Visual Studio. This is first part of this walkthrough. So we will have a second part also, right? So before going to this walkthrough, let me show you what version of Visual Studio I have installed, right? So let's go. So you have to simply write and search Visual, right? So you're able to get this Visual Studio 2019. I have installed Visual Studio 2019 Community Edition, so I'll get this type of icon. Maybe you have installed the lower version of that, Visual Studio 2017 or 15, or maybe some of you have Visual Studio 2013, right? So let me click this. So this will open this type of window. We will get this first window over here, right? So let me check. I have already created one console application, so I will get this recent applications in the left hand side, right, like this, right? And we have several items over here in the right hand side: clone a repository, open a project or solution. If you have any existing project or solution, then you can open it from this menu. Open a folder, right? Create a new project, right? You can create a new project by clicking this create a new project, right? So if you do not want to go out of these items, then click this continue without code, right? Then you will get this type of window, right? So this is the environment in which we will work, right? So let me close this, right? And go later in our presentation, right? So I'm closing here at right now, right? So what is Visual Studio? So it is an advanced integrated development enterprise tool which is exclusively developed by Microsoft Corporation in year 2000, right? So it is used to develop computer programs, right? It is used to develop websites, it is used to develop desktop applications, it is used to develop mobile application, it is used to develop games, and you can create many more applications, right? So it is an application package used to create means with this package you can create .NET application, right? You can debug a .NET application. Debug means you can find the errors by applying the breakpoints over here. You can debug your code, right? You can trace your code, right? So, and you can run the .NET applications, right? Then the next point is it is an intelligent software, right, which simplifies application development targeting to .NET technologies. Means the application which targets .NET technologies, it provides a simplificable approach to develop intelligent software, right? Now we'll call Visual Studio as an IDE. IDE means integrated development environment, which I have already discussed in previous lecture. Why it is called integrated development environment? Because it utilizes drag and drop features. Means you can create components by just dragging it from toolbox, right, and putting it to the window, right? So it will create the code by itself by dragging and dropping the components, right? So if you drag and drop the components, it will create the code automatically, right? As already told, it is used to develop, run and debug application, right? It comes in built-in framework. You can have different versions of framework like 4.5, 4.6, 3.5, 4.8. Now recently a 4.8 version is there, right? It contains developer framework, right? So this is Visual Studio. So what is if you want to define Visual Studio, then you can write these points, right? Understand and write these points, right? Now next we'll move further. So moving further, what is IDE? It is an integrated development environment, right? Which simplifies application development, right? With the support of its framework, right? We can implement .NET application instead of writing code from scratch. Means you do not need to write code from scratch. You will get some automatic code over there by just dragging and dropping your components, right? It is used to help help to develop the .NET application by writing the initial code, right? The IDE is very famous because of its components, because in this IDE there are lots of components, right, for creating various applications. So this IDE is famous for its components, right? For example, for Java you use Eclipse, or NetBeans. For this .NET you use Visual Studio, right? Now what are the features of that IDE, right? I will go to these features and I will demonstrate what is the features of that IDE in Visual Studio as well, right? So the first one is code snippets, right? So code snippets means this complete the syntax by itself by using the tab plus tab feature, right? If you write something, then if you press tab and tab, then it will complete the syntax by its own, right? So this is the most powerful feature of this Visual Studio, and it simplifies the life of the programmer, right? So it is a very powerful feature, the code snippet feature of Visual Studio. Then the other environment, right? So let me demonstrate the code snippet feature, right? So open this Visual Studio, right? Then go to create a new project. Yes, I have created one project, so I will go there, right? Visual Studio. I have created one project, so I will go to that project. Right. Suppose the tab feature, I want to demonstrate you the code snippet. Suppose you want to write static void main, just write svm and press tab, right? So you will get automatic code snippet over there, static void main string args, right? So if you want to write console dot write line, right? So write cw and tab. So you will get automatic code over here, console dot write line, right? So let me again demonstrate you. If you want to write static void main, so simply write svm and press 2 times tab, you will get this code. If you want to write console dot write, so cw is a shortcut and press tab, so you will get console.write line. So it is the code snippet feature of this IDE. So this is clear. So So let me demonstrate how to create a project in both C# and VB. First I will take console application, then we will go further, right? So open Visual Studio. Right. So you can go from here, these menus, create a new project, either click on this, either continue without code and click on from the environment, right? So click on this, create a new project, select the language from here. Here we can select all languages. Either you can, if you want to go for C#, then click on C#. If you want to go for Visual Basic, then go for Visual Basic. Or if you want to go for any other language, then go to any other language like Visual C++, F#, Java, etc. Right? So first I'll go to this C#, right? And if I want to create a console application, then I'll click this console application and give the appropriate project name here, my console app 1 C# 1, right? And create the project. So in this way, the project is created in the environment of Visual Studio. So it is creating the project with the name my console app C# 1. Right. So this project is created, the simple hello world program. All right. Let me close this. Let me do this with Visual Basic, right? So in this C# you are having different syntax, right? In VB you will get different syntax, right? Let me close this and let me open Visual Studio again, right? Open this, create a new project, choose the language VB from here, or you can go by selecting all languages, and this is for VB, right? Or you can change this language selection from the drop down Visual Basic and click on this console application, double click on this console application, give the appropriate project name my console app VB1, right? And create. So in this way you are able to create the same program, the hello world program, in Visual Basic, right? So let me minimize this, right? And let me open both the application, the console application which is created in C# and which is created in VB, right? In both. Right, so clear how to create a project. So in this way you can create any type of project, like I have created console application. You can create a web application also, you can create window based application also, right? Now the second point is the features of IDE is reference highlighting, right? So what is reference highlighting? So reference highlighting means if you mouse over on any keyword or variable in your code, right, so you will get the respective message, like the information of that keyword or variable, the error, the warning, or any other message will be displayed, right? So this is called reference highlighting. Let me demonstrate what is the reference highlighting. Open the console application in C#, right? If I want to go to this string, right, so it will give me the information regarding the string. This represents a sequence of UTF-16. This is a class, this includes in class system.string, right? If you want to go this go this in static and void, right, console, it represents the standard input, output and error streams, right? Write line, it is used to write specified string value, so you will get the message of each and every keyword, right? So this is called reference highlighting. In the same way, if we go to VB code, then we will get the same message over here if you mouse over the keyword or variable, right? Yes, I am mouse overing the keywords, so I will get the message, right? Now next is IntelliSense, right? What is IntelliSense? Means autocomplete features, right? So I have forgot to give you the code snippet feature in VB, right? So the code snippet feature in VB is if you want to write console.writeLine in VB, so you have to write console and put tab, right? You will get console.writeLine. You will get highlight this letter. You will get two methods over there, write and WriteLine. Click on WriteLine and tab, right? Then you can write your message over here, right? So the tab feature is available for C# and the tab feature is available for VB, right? So in this way you can apply these features of ID in your code, right? The second is IntelliSense. IntelliSense means the autocomplete features, right? So IntelliSense, there are two things in IntelliSense. One is IntelliSense and other is IntelliType, right? So if you want something that starts with A in your code, right, then simply write A. You will get all the things related to A, right? Either there is some class, some method, you will get all the things starts with A. If you want to write B, you will get all the things related to B. C, you will get all the things related to C. I, you will get the keywords if, int, the data type, right? So this is the IntelliSense feature of this Visual Studio, right? The same thing I'll apply to this VB. If you write A, then you will get all the things related to A. If you write B, then you will get all the things related to B. If you write C, then you will get all the things related to C. So this is the IntelliSense feature of Visual Studio, right? So this will give you the auto complete feature of IntelliSense. Now the next is auto generation of code. What is auto generation of code? Which means if you create a project, right? If you create a project, then it will automatically generate a code for it, right? Just I have created a project, so it will give me the necessary namespace using system, the namespace of this console app C#, the class, the method, main starting point of a program, and the console.writeLine method for printing a message. In the same way, I will get this all the things in VB, right? The imports, module, main, console.writeLine, right? So this is the auto generation of code, right? Now move on to next. What are solution and project in this .NET, right? Which comes under the Visual Studio, in which I will create the .NET applications, right? So what is a project? First we'll look this. So it is an application, So project is an application. Any type of application means it may be console application, it may be a window application, it may be web application, or it may be class library. Any type of application is called project, right? So what is the extension of that project? The extension of that project is .prog based on the language. So if you want to create a project in C#, then the extension of the project is .csprog, right? If you want to create the project in VB, then its extension is .vbprog. Right, if you want to create the project in Visual C++, then its extension is .vcxprog, right? So now move on to the solution part. So what is solution? So solution is a collection of projects, right? So in .NET, project exists inside the solution, right? Without a solution, project cannot exist, right? So we can create many type of projects in a single solution, right? In a single solution, you can create a window-based application, you can create console application, you can create web application, you can create a class library, right? Now what is the extension of this solution? The extension of this solution is .sln. The .sln file is the solution file, right? So why we need this solution? It is used to group our projects, right? If I want console based application, I want window based application, I want web based application at the same time, then it is used to group my projects in the solution, right? So solution can have any number of or any type of projects, right? So why we need a solution? This is the answer, right? Now let's create the project and let's check what are the projects in solution, right? So here I have created one console application, right? So here I'll see the solution. Solution is my console app C#1, right? And there is one project over here, right? In the same way, if I want to add one more project, add new project. If you want to add one more project in solution, then you have to go to simply right click in this solution and go to add, then add new project. Just I have taken the console application, I am taking the web application, right? Give the appropriate name, let's leave it as web application 1 and create, right? Empty. So this will create a web application project. So here you see there are two projects, right? Two projects in one solution, right? One is a console based application, another is a web application, right? So let's create one more project, right? Add new project, right? Suppose if you want to create a window based application, right? Windows form application, then you have to go to this Windows form application, right? And give the appropriate name, right? And create. So in this way you are able to create 3 projects in one solution of different types. One is console based application, another one is web application, another one is form based application, right? In the same way you can do with Visual Basic, right? Right click, right? Add new project, change your language, Visual Basic, right? Create a web application in Visual Basic, right? Create empty, so it is taking time in creating the web application, right? So here this web application is added, right? Two projects in one solution. So if you have seen this project contains .vb extension is for Visual Basic, right? And in C# we have .cs extension, right? The C# file, right? So if you want to check the extension of this, so if you want to add a project with Visual C++, then you can add project, new project, add a project of C++ over here, right? I have not installed the features of C++, so no exact matches found message is coming, right? So you can add C++ project also, right? So if you want to check the extensions of these files, then you have to go to the solution, right click on the solution and open folder in File Explorer. Click on this. So you will get the extension .sln file is over here, right? So you can check the extension by right clicking and click on properties. So this is the solution file, right? If you want to check the project file, then you have this project file. If you want to check the extension of this project file, then the project file extension is .csproj, right? In the same way, if you want to check the extension of other application, then right click and properties, you will get the extension of that project file, right? So if you want to check the extension of VB based application, Visual Basic language based application, then click on this, go on the open folder in File Explorer. Then this is the .sln file. If you want to check the project file, then go on this project, then right click, open folder in File Explorer. Then this is the Visual Basic project file. Right click on this, check properties. So this is having the different extension .vbproj because this application is created in Visual Basic as a language, right? So in this way you can check the extension of your applications as well, right? Now Visual Studio helps to simplify your application development with its components. So what are these components, right? These components exist in view menu, right? If you check the view menu of your project, either in C#, right, view menu, we have different type of components like Solution Explorer, Team Explorer, Server Explorer, Cloud Explorer, right? You have Toolbox over here, you have class view over here. There are different components in the view menu of this Visual Studio, right, IDE. In the same way, you can find these menu in the Visual Basic as well, right? In the view menu, you can get all the components over here: Solution Explorer, Team Explorer, Server Explorer, Cloud Explorer, the Toolbox, right? And other windows, right? So let me minimize this. So the most important components in the view menu are the screen or forms or user interface, right? If you want to open this, you have to press Shift plus F7, right? The code window will come with F7, right? And the toolbox appears with Alt, Control, and X. Properties window will come by pressing F4. Solution Explorer will come by Alt, Control, and L. Server Explorer comes with the help of Alt, Control, and S. Right. So when you create an application, any application, the respective windows will be displayed. Right. So when any tool is added in the application, right, so the objects gets created for that particular tool, right? So when we modified that tool, then their property is automatically modified, right? So this is a note for that. When create an application, if you use a tool, then its object is automatically created in that code. Right. So suppose I want to create a window based application, right? So this is the Windows form application, right? Let me open this form1.cs, right? So I will get this window. So I have different types of components. This is the form, right? I'll get the Server Explorer. Server Explorer is used to connect your application with the database and other parameters related to the server, right? Then let the Server Explorer opens. So this is the Server Explorer I have get, right? You can create the data connections over here. You can check the servers which are connected with this application, right? You can have toolbox over here, right? So there are various components of toolbox, right? If you want to get one text box or a radio button, if you want to get one text box, right? If you want to get one button, right, you can just drag and drop that text box and button in your form and you will get this. Then the code of this designer part is automatically created by just dragging and dropping this. I have drag drop text box and button, so the code is automatically created in the designer.cs part, right? So if you want to apply the shortcut for toolboxes, Alt, Control, and X, right? So Alt, Control, and X, this will open the toolbox, right? If you want to check the code window, right, then press F7, right? Here function plus F7, you will get the code window. In some laptops there is a function key with F7 support. In some laptops there are only, you have to press F7, right? So this is the code window, right? Or if you want to double click this button, the code is automatically created for the button click event, right? So this is the feature of Visual Studio. Now the next is the Server Explorer. If you want to check Server Explorer, then click on Alt, Control, and S, Alt Control and S. So this is a Server Explorer. If you want to click open Alt Control and L, right? Alt Control and L. So this will open the Solution Explorer. If you want to open the properties window, right? If you want to check the properties of the button, right? So press F4, then you will get the properties of that button. This is the property window over here, right? This is the text of the button. If you want to give any ID of the button, you can give the font name, you can give the color of the button, you can change the properties of any component, right? Any control, right? So pressing F4 will give the properties of that particular component, right? Now the third one is now the next is if you want to go to the UI from forms or screens, then press Shift plus F7. If you are in a code, if you want to go back, press Shift plus F7. So you will go back to that form, right? Now let's come to Visual Basic part. So open the Visual Basic project. The same UI or screen I've got in Visual Basic window form based application, right? So from the toolbox, let me drag drop some components. Let me drag the components over here. Let me drag one text box, right? From common controls, the text box or the label, date time picker, or any tools, right? The button. So where's the button, right? So the code is automatically generated. This is form.vb, the extension is vb, right? So this is the code of this, and the designer part is this. If you want to check the code, then simply press F7, you will get the code window, right? This is the code window for that, right? So in the same way, you can go for any project. If you want to check toolbox, Alt Control and X is for toolbox, right? Here there is no items because your form is not open. If you want to open, Control Alt and X, then you will get all the controls in the toolbox, right? Just you have to drag and drop the components like this, right? You can create menus, you can create navigations, right? In this. So how to build an application, right? Build means to generate the intermediate language, right? So when you write a program and you compile that program, the intermediate language gets generated, right? So any program written in .NET needs to be converted into IL, right? IL is nothing but MSIL or CIL. You can say that it is MSIL or CIL, right? So when you build when you build any program or code, so assembly gets created. It is nothing but the intermediate language, right? So this assembly is in the form of exe, right, or DLL, right? When your program contains the main method, then the exe will be created. If your program does not contain the main method, then the DLL is created. Means if you are creating the class library project, then the DLL is created, right? So for building the project, you have to select the project in the Solution Explorer and right click on it and click on build, or you can simply click Ctrl Shift and B, right? Let me demonstrate both the codes in C# and in VB, right? So I have written nothing in this program, and I am building this application, right? The project, right? Simply right click and build, right? So this build is successful. If you want to check the executable file, because this is a main method, then if you want to check the exe, then open file, open folder in file explorer, then go to this bin, then debug, then .NET Core, then this exe file is created, right? This is the executable file in which we have created, right? So this is nothing but the intermediate language, right? Now the same thing if you want to check in Visual Basic, right? So this is the program in Visual Basic, right? If you want to build this program, just right click and build, right? So let me do it again, build, right? And build succeeded, right? If you want to check, then right click on this, go to open folder in file explorer, then click on this bin and debug, then netcore, then you will find the exe executable file, application file, right? So in this way you can find the exe file for that, right? If you build that application, right? Now if you want to create the DLL file, then you have to simply right click and add new project, right? Either you create the class library in C# or create the class, go to this class library, right, and create. So in this way, this I have not written anything in this class library, right? I'm just building this project, right? Build succeeded. Let me check, and the DLL comes over there or not. Open folder in file explorer, right? And go to bin, debug. So there is no exe file over there because there is no main method in this class library. Only one DLL file is there, which is nothing but the intermediate language, right? IL file. So this DLL file is generated, right? Let's generate with the help of VB also. Right click, add new project, right? Change your language here, Visual Basic, class library, right? Create. So this is the class library which is created by the Visual Basic language. Just right click and build, right? So build succeeded. If you want to check the assembly, then you have to go to open folder in file explorer, open bin, debug, .NET Standard 2.0, and this DLL file is generated, right? So in this way you can create and check the assemblies, right? Now next is, what is clean application, right? Clean application means if you want to that delete the assembly, right? If you have created a DLL or exe file, if you want to delete that assembly from that particular folder, then you have to choose that clean assembly, right, for deleting the assembly, right? So the DLL file or .exe file will be deleted by cleaning the assembly, by cleaning the application, right? So if you want to check this, open folder in File Explorer, right? Bin debug. So this is the DLL file that created. If you want to clean that, click on clean, right click and clean. It clean succeeded. If you check that folder, this folder is empty now, right? So this DLL file is deleted from there, right? Now if you want to check this, right click, open folder in if you want to check the exes, the DLL file of that VB, right? This is the VB project. Right click, clean, right? Then this file also, all the files gets deleted, right? Then choose next application. In the main method we have the exes. Let's check the exe is deleted or not. This is the assembly over there. If you want to delete the DLL or exe file, then click on clean. Clean succeeded. Then this file is also deleted, right? Now for VB also, right? Bin debug. These are the files. These are the assemblies. This is the executable file. Let me clean this. Clean, right? Then this folder is empty, right? So in this way you can delete your DLLs and exes, right? Now what is rebuild, right? So rebuild means clean plus build it again, right? Clean the DLL and build it again means what the build do? Build builds only the recently added programs, right? So the builded program will not build again. So if you want to rebuild it, we have to clean that DLLs and then again build that. So rebuild means clean and build that newly added things, right? So in this way you can use rebuild functionality also. What are the different types of application you can create with this .NET framework? So the first is console application. So what is console application? The application which doesn't have any user interface, right? So it is a command based, means it is a console based application which appears in the black window, right? It is the instruction based application which will be operated by admin, right? So these applications are created with the help of console application, right? In which you will get the black window and some message over there, right? So this is the console application. So next is Windows application. Windows application means it is native to Windows operating system, right? So it is UI based application. You will get some menus, you will get text box, you will get buttons, you will get text area, you will get drop downs, right? So this is Windows operating system dependent, right? So these are of two types. One is Windows Forms. Windows Forms means you can create the application like the Windows XP, Windows NT, etc., right? The next is the WPF. WPF means Windows Presentation Foundation, in which you will get the rich user interface. You can create application like Windows 7, Windows 8 and Windows 10, right? The same application you can create, right? It works using XAML, right, which is called extensible application markup language, right? The code is for the XAML types, right? The next is you can create Windows services, right? This is also the program without user interface. It runs in background. If you so what are the Windows services you can create? If you write window r and services.msc, right? So these are the services. You can create these services which runs on the background, right? Like the antivirus, the Windows updates, etc., right? Now the next one is class libraries. Class library means the program without the main method, right? So it these libraries can be created, and later we can consume that library in our different applications, right? So this is called class libraries, right? Then the next application you can create is web application and websites, right? So those application which is hosted in web server, right, and accessible in web, right, is called web application or websites, right? Now the last one is web services, right? So it is a service library. It can be consumed by any application or in any technology, right? Like the Windows services, we can have the web services, right? So that's all for this video lecture. This is the part 1 of introduction to Visual Studio, and we will look at the other features in the second part, right? Thank you.